Hi everybody, today's focus we're talking about good bacteria. I'm going to review the Reencle food waste composter. I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about ways in which we can remove bacteria. I primarily test products to see if their product claims, something that says they remove 99% of bacteria, well, does that work in the real world? I'll test things like Lysol, e-cloth, vinegar, just to see can those products remove bacteria in a real home situation. So we know that there's a lot of bacteria around our home and we need bacteria in our lives in order to survive. When I test cleaning products, we're trying to see, hey, do their claims match what really happens in my home? But oftentimes we forget to talk about the good, healthy bacteria, the bacteria that we need in our homes. And today we're going to explore the bacteria that's used in composting. So for about a year and a half, I've been looking into watching videos and reading blog posts about various electric home composting systems. I've read about the Lomi, the Vitamix, the Mill, and the Reencle. And I really tried to just narrow down which product was one that I wanted to test in my home. The Reencle stood out to me because it uses bacteria, in particular bacillus bacteria, in order to break down the food waste that you put into this machine. So I had my eye on the Reencle for quite a while. I finally saw an advertisement where it had a decrease in price. The Reencle normally goes for $4.99. It was $100 off at $3.99. So let's unbox the Reencle and see what's inside. Okay, so inside we have a manual, a guide sheet. I like these. I always like having a small guide sheet. Oh, a filter. A carbon filter. And then the machine itself. Let's have a look at the manual first before I take out the machine. So we have the user manual here, which I am going to flip through. So we have our normal safety precautions, which is good, and I'll read this much more detailed when I'm not on the camera here. Then the second section is Meet Reencle Prime. This is really cute because right on the top here, it says microorganisms. Awesome. It says Reencle Prime is a home food waste composter that uses Reencle's patented microorganisms to break down food waste naturally and turn it into compost. Awesome. That is what I was really interested in, because a lot of those other products I was looking at seemed like they were just food dehydrators, but not actually composting and breaking down the food using bacteria. Then there's the stirring tank, which says it uses temperature regulation and a continuous stirring rod to provide an optimal environment for Reencle's microorganisms. The continuous stirring helps break down food waste, while the consistent temperature allows microorganisms to remain active in fermenting and decomposing food waste in a relatively short period of time. That's great. So I actually do have two compost systems already in my yard. The first one is like a barrel composter. I'll show you a picture of that. This is my barrel compost system that is a closed barrel that is close to my home. My house is there, the yard, the garden, so it's over here. When I use this compost system though, I feel like I'm on The Price is Right. And the second one is more of an outdoor compost pile in our woods. This is the more open compost pile that we have. It is kind of low right now. We are weaving some sticks around to create a taller fence around it. Right now you can see on top it is the garlic stalks from the garlic that we grew this year. We do put food scraps over here. Actually, I can see like a tomato and a Brussels sprout stalk over here. But we keep this pile a bit away from our home, which is over there. I don't know if you can see it. My house is there. And we keep this open pile a little further down the property in case it attracts critters, since it is an open system. So I know that it's really important that you stir and turn over your compost in order for it to break down properly. And that's something that I honestly don't always do very well. The third point is that it's odor-free and silent. It's odor-free due to the 3-layer filtering system that incorporates a charcoal filter. Yeah, okay, so charcoal filter, that's good. That's going to filter out a lot of the scent, so that's good. And then it's essentially silent. So that's good. So it shouldn't make a lot of noise in the home. And the fourth point is design. It's designed to be used indoors with convenient features. A motion sensor located in the front of the receptacle will automatically open the lid when you approach it, making it easy to dispose of food waste. We'll test all these features too. Okay, good. Then let's go to the initial setup so we know what we're going to do here. First, you have to unpack your Reencle, prime, and place it on a flat surface in a well-ventilated area. We want to allow 4 inches between the machine and the back wall for proper ventilation. Reencle Prime is designed for indoor use only where temperatures do not fall below 32 degrees. Do not install it in a watery area or where the machine could be exposed to rain. Okay, so from a lot of the videos and the blog posts that I read about this, most people just put it in their kitchen. I have to look at my kitchen, which is over there, and figure out where do I think this would fit well in the home with a plug, because I have to plug it in and have that 4-inch barrier. I think I might put it where I put my recycling cans, but I have to figure it out. The second step is to remove the compost starter bag from the machine and any other contents from inside the stirring tank. Well, let's do this. Let's just start setting it up. So I've unpacked it. There are 4 buttons, it looks like here: power, dry, purify, and open. And if you open up this, inside is the compost starter and some cardboard, which I'll take out. Oh, and a little shovel. So you can see inside the paddles that'll mix the compost. So I'm gonna have one of my kids move it to a spot in the kitchen where I want to set it up for this testing. It's heavy for me, so I'm gonna have one of my kids move it. So I chose the spot in my home because it's at the end of the counter in my kitchen. My island is right over there where I do a lot of my vegetable prep, and I have an outlet right up here. Step 3 is to remove the sticker on the carbon filter. So the Reencle Prime will arrive with the carbon filter already installed. Check your filter for a yellow sticker and remove the sticker before using. Oh yeah. So here's the carbon filter here, so let's just remove this. It's wrapped in plastic, so I'm gonna remove the plastic, remove the stickers. Oh, I gotta turn this. I had to get a screwdriver. So we'll put the filter back on, and it needs to be secured with these little tabs here. And usually you can use just like a nickel or something to turn them. There we go. Step 4, plug in the Reencle and press the power button. It's very quiet, but I can hear it on. And it just opened up the lid. It's kind of amusing. Oh, it's probably because my hand went by the sensor. Let's try that again. Step 5, open the bag of compost starter and pour it all into the stirring tank. In its initial stage, Reencle's compost starter contains microorganisms that resemble sawdust and pellets. As it begins to work and culture, normally over the next 4 weeks, it will begin to resemble a brown, soft, soil-like texture. Okay. Okay. Step 6, pour 7 cups, 50 to 60 fluid ounces of water into the stirring tank with the compost starter and close the cover. Oh, I'm supposed to leave it open maybe? Oops, we'll just leave that open. Okie dokie, 7 cups of water. Close the cover. Step 7, let the compost starter and water process for 18 to 24 hours. So I've been using the Reencle for about 2 weeks now, and I'm finding it to break down the food that I'm putting in fairly well. I'm adding things like potato skins, carrot skins, stems, like, the thick stems from broccoli and cauliflower, green bean leftovers, things like that. Lots of vegetables that I'm putting in. Apple cores, butternut squash skin in the ends of the butternut squash, things like that. I'm trying to think what else I've put in it. I was going to actually make a list, and then life happens, right? I'm just using it and putting things in it and seeing how it goes. Cooked acorn squash skins. I'm trying to think of all the other vegetables that we've eaten. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I've put a lot in there. And every time I peek in there, it looks like it's really breaking down. A couple of times it's looked a little dry, so I have added some water. Now, a couple of days ago, my husband came home and he's like, "What is that smell?" I didn't smell anything, but I had been in the house all day. And he's like, "Go outside, come back in, and you're gonna smell it." And I didn't notice the smell. I do notice a little bit of an earthy smell when I open up the Reencle to add stuff in, but I didn't notice anything other than that. He was adamant that it was making our kitchen and living room smell, because we have an open concept house, so our kitchen and living room and dining room are all one big room. Now, yesterday, I was out all day, and when I came home, I did notice a smell. So I was Googling. There is a Facebook group for the Reencle community. That was kind of I just did a search term for smell. Most people complain about having like a vinegar or a sour smell. I'm like, I really wouldn't describe this as vinegar or sour. I kind of describe it almost as fishy. Now, we have not put any fish in this at all. So I was like, I'm not certain what this is. So my husband was adamant that we move it. He does not want the Reencle in the kitchen if it smells. So I was kind of upset about that. I was like, but it's so convenient. It is. I cannot tell you how convenient it is. You peel a potato, you pick up the peels, and literally I just put them right into the Reencle. So easy to use. Now, usually when I do my composting, I collect everything in a bowl, and then a couple days or so, I make the trek outside. Remember, I showed you my 2 compost piles I have. I've got the barrel, and I've got the one that is more like an open compost pile. It's winter now. It's snowing. It's cold. It's icy. I don't want to be going out there. And actually undoing the barrel one in the winter is kind of a pain, because sometimes it freezes shut. But anyway, so I find this to be really, really, really convenient. So I very reluctantly moved it down into my basement. I also pushed the purify button, because that's supposed to help reduce the smells. And I'm going to have a look at it right now. Make sure I took off all the stickers on the carbon filters. That's something that Facebook group suggested you do. And I'm also going to clean the little mesh filter. Hopefully those things help the smell. I put it down in my basement yesterday around maybe 6 p.m. and it's, what is it now? It's 10:16 the next day. I'm gonna go downstairs now, and if my basement smells, then I'll know that, yeah, it's the Reencle. And I'll do my best to try to figure out what is causing it. Another thing I read on this Facebook group was that maybe you're not feeding it enough. Possibility. I mean, I feel like I'm feeding it quite a bit. We do eat a bit of fruits and vegetables. And another one said that if you have a vinegar sour smell, to add bread or carbohydrates. Now, I don't have that smell, so I'm not adding bread. And I'm not just going to add like a good thing of bread. If I have stale bread or bread that goes moldy, or something that no one's going to eat anymore, then I'll toss it in there. But I'm not just going to add bread, like fresh, clean bread, to this if I'm not actually having a sour vinegar smell. So I'm going to go down and sell it, and we'll take a look at it and see if it smells. Okay, so I'm walking down to my basement. Now, if I'm not looking in the camera, it's because I don't want to fall down my stairs. Let's see. Oh, I smell it. I literally opened the door, and I can smell it. Okay, nope, I do smell it. Sorry, I'm holding the camera that way. Okay, I do smell something. I'm trying to... my sniffer, like Jim always says, my sniffer doesn't work well. My sister, her nose is really good. No, I do smell something. Okay, so here's my Reencle in my basement. So I have it on a spot where this is where I like dry herbs. That's my water heater. and we'll store some potatoes there. So we put it here. My basement is heated, so it's not cold down here. Actually, I think it's like 70 degrees down here now. So let's take a look. So it's on purify. I did put it on the purify mode, and it does still smell. I can still smell it. What I'm gonna do is check, get my camera around here for you, the charcoal filter back here, to see if I forgot to take any stickers off or something. And let's also take a look at the filter, the mesh filter on the inside. That's right there, and that looks all right to me. If I can pull it out with one hand, I can. It doesn't look dirty to me. I mean, they say you can just brush this with a toothbrush and clean it, but it looks fairly clean. Let me open it back up. I mean, I can brush or wipe that area, but it doesn't look that bad. Let me put this back in. See if I can with one hand. Oops, it closed. The lid. I don't like how the lid closes so fast on you. Sorry about the bad recording here. Okay, and just to show you, I mean, it looks nice. I mean, everything's composted nice. It's, oh boy, hold on. Let me open it up with this way. There we go. It's gonna beep, just ignore the beeping. I mean, everything is composting nicely. It's a little dry in my opinion, so I think I might add some water. The max line is here, so we're not quite at the max line yet. And I think it looks good. Let me smell it. Let me get closer. It does smell a little bit though. So yeah, it kind of smells like a fish tank. It's kind of weird. I think I'm gonna post on that Facebook group and ask people if they have experience with it smelling like a fish tank. That's the closest thing I can describe it as. And I did smell when I came down here, so I'm gonna check that carbon filter on the back and make sure that I installed it properly. I could change it because it did come with a second carbon filter, but they're supposed to last 9 to 12 months. So I really don't wanna change it because the other one's, it's supposed to last, 9 to 12 months. All right, I'll go check that out now. I really hope I can get to the source of this smell because it's super convenient having this thing in my kitchen. It's kind of a pain to have to always go down to the basement to use it. But, okay, let's put some water in. Okay, so first I'm just gonna power it off and I'll just turn it around so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, it's kind of heavy. I grabbed a quarter so I can open these. So you just turn it and turn it. I'm really hoping I just forgot to put a sticker. Take a sticker off. Okay, let's see. Okay, now it says right here, do not remove this sticker. So I didn't. There is some dirt here, but there's no other stickers on it. It's a little dirty. So I'm guessing that, oh, here's the mesh. The mesh filter comes through here. I'll just clean that up a little maybe. Because there is some dirt there. I'm gonna get a paper towel and just kind of brush that off. But it looks like my carbon filter is intact, fine. I can see the pellets in here. I did remove the stickers properly. So I'm just gonna wipe this down a little bit just to get some of that dirt out of here, just in case that's causing the smell. And put this back in. I use toothbrush. An old toothbrush probably easier. There's my quarter. Alright, so I think that looked okay. Turn it around. Ugh. I'm gonna add some water though. So I'm gonna go get some water. Let's put 2 cups in. Turn it back on. I'm gonna open it up and mix it a little bit too and scrape down the sides. So it's powered off. I'm gonna open it up and just kind of scrape a little bit, just in case maybe some of the stuff that's stuck on the sides is making it smell. No, it looks pretty good. It does have a smell. I can't tell if it's an earthy smell or what. But when I first came down here, it smelled like fish tank. I can't tell. I don't really have a good sniffer. I don't know, it looks really good though. Like everything I put in yesterday, the day before, you know, it's all broken down. I don't see any big chunks. There was one big chunk. Where'd it go? Like here? Like, I mean, that's not even a big chunk. I'm just trying to see if there's anything like stuck on the bottom, maybe, that just isn't getting mixed properly. Whoops, I don't want to, you know, hit one of the whoops. I don't want to hit one of the spinny wheels, you know, the stirrers. I don't know. And just let it go. I'm going to wash this before I hang it back up. I'll power it back on and we'll do the purify. So I decided to write to that Facebook group to get some advice. All right, and this is what I wrote. I said, hello, I've had my Reencle for 2 weeks. We had it in our kitchen, have added mostly vegetable scraps, bread, and water if it looks really dry. We have noticed a smell. The closest I can describe it as is fish tank. I cleaned the mesh filter, I checked to make sure I removed the stickers from the filter in the back and turned on purify. We moved it to our basement, which is heated and dry, because of the smell. Any suggestions or possible reasons it would have a scent like a fish tank? Thanks. And I received some help. I did black out their names since they don't know I run a YouTube channel. One said, I had that smell too, but we ran it on Purify for a couple days and it kept feeding it and eventually went away. Okay. Mine had a vinegar smell while it was building a steady state. Keep feeding it carbs and coffee grounds and it'll eventually go away. I've been able to eliminate any funk by adding crushed dry leaves to my potted plants to soak up excess moisture. Now I don't have a moisture problem, it's very dry. Try adding coffee grounds. I add some cardboard every evening. I'm not gonna add cardboard. And coffee grinds, K-cup grinds, or tea bag waste will help with smell. Mine smelled initially when I started, but now I have a rich soil smell. So this morning I did put in some coffee grinds and some stale bread. Sorry I didn't record that. I was like in my pajamas and I wasn't thinking of recording. And I also put a fan on in my basement to try to dissipate the smell because I need the smell to go away in order to decide if the thing is still smelling. I know that sounds so weird, but I really just want to figure this out because so far I absolutely love the Reencle. I cannot explain to you how amazing it is to put all these vegetable scraps in and then the next day have them just look like dirt. So we're gonna figure this out. So yesterday we had a pretty bad storm and we lost power. So we ended up by being on the generator for a little bit. And when we go on the generator, we only run the refrigerator, the freezer, and also the heat. So the Reencle was off for a couple of hours yesterday just because of the power outage. And so I'm coming down now to see how it smells. Okay, now walking near the Reencle, I'm not smelling anything like I had a couple of days ago when my son turned it back on after we got our power back on. He just turned it on. He didn't put it on Purify. I forgot to tell him to do that. But let's open it up and see what it smells like. Just gonna get my nose in here. Yeah, I'm not really getting much of a smell. I'm getting a bit of an earthy smell. Like it definitely has like a dirt, earthy smell. And it smells a little bit like coffee because I put some coffee grounds in it yesterday, but I think it's looking pretty good. So now that I have the smell under control in the Reencle indoor composter, I want to see how well it handles like a load of food. So it says it can put, 2.2 pounds of food in a day, or a kilo. So I'm actually going to put in a full pound of baby carrots. I don't like wasting food, but I bought some things of baby carrots that were really close to their like sell-by date, so I don't feel too bad about it. And I'm going to put a pound of carrots in my Reencle to see how well it breaks them down within the 24 hours. Okay, so there are my carrots. I'm gonna open up my Reencle. And I did put some leftover salad in here earlier, but I don't think it was much when you're talking about pounds or anything. So I'll put these carrots in. And I had some blueberries in there too, but so that's about a pound of carrots. And we'll see how it does in 24 hours. Okay, now I'm heading down cellar to check how those carrots did after 24 hours. Okay, I'm gonna open the whole lid. All right. Now I can see here now that the mesh does have some dirt on it, so I might wash that later. But first, let's see if we can find any carrots. Okay, there's that one little orange piece there, that's tiny. That's not an orange piece, that's something else that was in here. I don't know what that is. What is that? Oh, you know what that is? This is from a butternut squash, like the stem of a butternut squash. Okay, there's an orange piece. Oh no, that's actually a tomato skin. I'm not seeing... I put a pound of baby carrots in here, and I'm not seeing one. That's pretty fantastic. Overall, I'm very impressed with the Reencle. It has done a great job at breaking down every bit of food that I've put in it for the past few weeks. I want to go over with you what you're supposed to do once you hit that max line in the Reencle. Now, I'm not near the max line yet, which surprises me. Every time I put food in, it goes above the max line, and I'm like, oh boy, this is it. And then the next day I check it, and it's back down. So I'm not at the max line yet. But when you do get it to the max line, there's some steps that you need to follow. I will record myself doing these steps, so if it's something that you want to see, just put a note in the comments section, and if people want to see these next steps as I do them, might be weeks or months down the line, then I will make a video for that, okay? Just let me know. So you're at the max line now, you're like, here we are, we've done it, we're at the max line. So what you want to do is run the Reencle for 48 hours without adding any scraps into it. That should give time for the organic matter to really be fully decomposed. Then you want to remove the compost, but you want to leave about 1/3 in the Reencle. This is a very important part. That bottom third is going to contain all the microbes necessary for you to continue on composting in the Reencle. You do not need to keep purchasing starter kits over and over and over again. I think that is fantastic. You just keep that bottom third there, and that is what replenishes your system each time you need to empty it. That, I think, is a huge plus. There are a couple other systems that I looked at where you constantly had to be adding in additives or little tablets to your system. This isn't. You have one starter package that comes with the Reencle. Get that going, and then you just keep reusing it, just leaving 1/3 in the bottom of the tank over and over and over again. Then you want to sift the compost to remove any large particles. Now, I can tell you that there are some things that might take longer to decompose than others. One example would be a butternut squash stem. I watched that take quite a while to decompose, and that's okay. It's fine, it's decomposing, it just takes longer than the 24 hours or 48 hours to do so. So that's something, if you sift it and you would put something like that just back in the Reencle so it can continue to be decomposed. Then it says you should mix your compost with some soil. And the ratio that they suggest is 1 part compost to 4 parts soil. Then let the mix rest and cure for at least 3 weeks before you use it. And you want to put it in a breathable bag or container. So the compost is warm, it's hot. As it's decomposing, heat is released. If you've ever taken lawn, like grass cuttings, grass clippings, and put them in a bin or a bag, and it's sealed, and you open the bin or bag, you can see the steam coming out, right? If you've ever done that, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't done it, it happens. And I can show you it this summer when my son cuts the lawn. Now I can't because, well, there's snow on the ground. But anyway, so I use my husband's thermo temperature scanner guy, and every once in a while, I would just check out what the temperature was inside the Reencle. Each time I tested it, it was between, I think, 94-ish and 110, which is great. Everything's decomposing, and that's great. Now consider, though, you're going to be taking that hot compost, taking it out. It's still going to be decomposing, and they say it needs to cure for about 3 weeks. I am not a compost expert at all. Remember, I'm pretty new to this. However, I do know that I don't want to put hot compost on any plant root system because it'll burn them and hurt the plants. So curing the compost is going to be really important. I do want to make a quick note that my teenagers really liked testing the temperature of the compost. I thought it was very fun to do, and one of my teens said he was very happy to report that it was 90 degrees in the corner. So we'll be putting this mixture in a breathable bag. So I've looked on that Facebook group, and some people say they just use those potato bags. Remember those potato bags that I tried to grow potatoes in once? I might use that. Some people just take a bucket or a plastic storage bin and they just drill some holes in the cover so that, you know, it makes it breathable. So I will be experimenting. I'm not certain what I'm going to use yet. And again, if you want to see that process, just put a note in the comment section. And when I get to that part, when we hit the max line, I'll show you what I do. Now let's talk about really quickly again about the things that you can put in. Now they have a really nice chart in here of acceptable and prohibited food wastes. So I primarily put in, let's see, fruits, cooked vegetables, raw vegetables, peels, coffee grounds. I did coffee grounds almost every day. I did put bread in it. And let's see, stems and roots, I did that. Let's see, I did not put any protein in it. Oh no, I did. No, I did. I had some leftover chicken soup. Wasn't much, it was like some chicken chunks, carrots, corn, potato. And I did put that in. That is so I did. I did put some protein in. I didn't even think of that. I didn't put any nuts in it. Grains I did. I put some quinoa in it. I put in cooked pasta. Everything broke down just fine. So I do find it really impressive. To make it easier for the Reencle though, I did cut up a lot of what I was putting in. If I had some broccoli stalks that were, really thick, I just chopped them up a bit. Anything that's smaller will decompose faster, right? So that is what I did, and I would take banana peels and just cut them with scissors as I put them in the composter. Now as for the smell, you saw I struggled a bit in the beginning with a really weird smell. It kind of smelled like fish tank, but we were able to take care of that. That scent most certainly went away, which is good. So now though, my husband still just isn't a fan of the scent of it when it's opened. As of today, if I walk downstairs and I walk over to the Reencle and I try to smell all around it, I do not smell any odors at all. The only time I can pick up a scent is when I open up the lid. When the lid is opened, yes, there is an earthy smell. It is not a bad smell. It doesn't smell rotten. It doesn't smell bad at all, but there is an earthy-like smell. My husband is not a fan of that, so I am keeping it for right now down in that little basement spot. It's way more convenient for me if it's in my kitchen next to my counter. So I might try to bring it back upstairs to see if he notices and to see if it bothers him. But for now, it is down my basement. As for the sound, that's something else that they talk about a lot on like the ads and everything, that is very quiet, or it's silent. It is quiet. I could hear it. Now I have a very quiet house first thing in the morning. We have radiant heating, so I don't have like air blowers or HVAC blowing. And sometimes in the morning, my house is just super, super, super quiet. So when I head in the kitchen, I could hear it a little bit. The slightest type noise. Very, very quiet. Now it's down in my basement. I don't hear it. When people are walking around the house and there's normal sounds going on in the home, I don't hear it at all. So it is extremely quiet. I do want to point out quickly too, Reencle does have a frequently asked questions section which troubleshoots all sorts of different issues people might have. So if you have a Reencle and you have a problem, go to that guide first. You know, one of the things is, oh, my compost is too oily. I didn't have that problem, I didn't put any oils into it, but you would just follow what they say to take care of that issue. Another place that you can ask a lot of questions and get some really good support is the Reencle composting community. It's on Facebook. I can put a link to it. I think I put a link to it, if that's okay, in the description below. It is not my group. Not at all. I am not affiliated with this group at all, but I am a member of the group, and I find that the people there really know their stuff, and they're very, very, very helpful. I also swabbed the compost at different times to see how many microbes were actually in my compost, and each time I did that, you can see the petri dishes here, there was a plethora of bacteria. So then I know that the compost most certainly does have bacteria. And again, if you're interested in seeing the process of after you hit that max line, just put a note in the comments and I'll make a separate video for that. If there's a product that you'd like me to test, do me a favor and put it in the comments section and I will add it to my viewer suggestion list. Or you can mail me something. My mailbox address is in the description below. Just do me a favor and send me an email first. That's also in the description below. So we can have a conversation about the product. Might be something that I've already tested. Might be something that I have in queue at home. But I'd like to have a conversation about the product before you send it to me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Have yourselves a great day.